Alright, so today the plan is I'm gonna get warmed up and then I'm gonna do a wheelie tutorial, I guess. As much as I don't want to, because there's so many out there on the internet, but I guess no one has mine, so I might as well give you mine. So I'm just going to do a few more second gear wheelies here and then I'll show you guys what's up. All I know is the main thing about doing wheelies, the main thing you can do to get good is seat time. You got to put the time in. You got to ride a bunch and you got to practice wheelies a bunch. You have to like eat, breathe, sleep, drink, work, everything wheelies. Like when you're not doing wheelies, you got to be like watching other people do wheelies and trying to understand how to do better wheelies. You got to do that for a while, like at least half a year. At least I did. And then, yeah, today I'm just kind of, I gotta warm up today. We're a little rusty, a little sloppy. That's better. My next biggest tip is get you a nice spot where no one's gonna bother you. The best thing to learn on is one of these. Get you a little Grom. This is more of a Grom tutorial, honestly. Grom and low CC bikes. And that got squirrely. Alright, so you'll notice when I clutch up in second, it's like I have to move all the way back to get it up, but then I move forward, and that's just to like get more control and whatnot. But yeah, the further up you are, like the easier it is to control the bike usually. Well, you just feel more in control, I guess. Let's see. Well, yeah, I got a little list here, so we'll go over that. And the first thing first is just like how to pull it up, and then I'm also gonna go over foot locking. The main thing that helped me was foot locking, which is like you stick your foot under the peg. Some people shift lock, which is where you shift up and then hold the shifter up, but I like to do it under the peg personally. This makes it way easier. But yeah, that's probably what I would do, honestly. But I mean, some people learn without that, so it is what it is. Hello. She's about the wheels, that's cool. But yeah, some people don't do that. Some people do other things, I guess, and they just put their foot up there and pinch really hard with their heels and stuff. I don't know. Me personally, I like foot lock, and it feels weird at first. No one that I've mentioned it to, like no one likes it at first, but I've had a couple people who seem to prefer to do that because it kind of locks you on the bike. But at first they all hate it, you know what I mean? It's not really a comfortable thing. So if you're gonna do that, I'd recommend like riding around just literally like this with your left foot the whole time. But anyways, the main things are so you give it gas and drop the clutch, and that's literally like how you get it up in first gear. The older Groms and Groms without the clutch springs, it's kind of harder to get it up, so you might have to pull on it like I do second. So like if you can't do it in first, I would keep trying it for a long time, and then if you still can't get it, then just cut to the part of this video which covers second gear, because that might help you more, because I know a lot of like the OG Groms and second gen Groms, they're way harder to get up. So yeah, I've tried a couple of them out and they all feel kind of like the same. And then stock clutch springs too makes it kind of hard to get up, so I would just skip to second almost when I start going over that in this video, and I'll drop a time frame for that to skip to. But yeah, so you're gonna want to start out in first for sure, and then remember, all you do is hold the clutch in, rev the gas, and then drop the clutch. And then when it comes up too high, you just hit the foot brake, which is on the right side here. So that's literally it. So the best way to like start doing it is just to do exactly that, just pull it up, and then immediately kind of use the foot brake and try to get height before you try to get distance. I kind of went more for distance. Luckily on the Grom it's a little forgiving if you do, because the fastest you're going to be going is like 20 if you crash, which I feel like you're going to crash. So the best way to do it is just to go slow and go like 0 to 5 miles an hour, hold the clutch in, rev it, dump the clutch, and then just try to get it higher and higher every time until you're comfortable with it, because at first you're going to have like little baby wheelies. So I don't know, I guess I'll like kind of simulate that crap for a second. It's kind of gonna look like this. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of gonna look like that for a while until you get to the point where you're dropping it back. And then you'll know when you drop it back, because you'll actually need the foot brake. So for me, I wasn't even foot braking there, but anytime you're too high, you have to foot brake, because that's your only like way out of it, you know what I mean? All right, sorry, my camera got full on storage, my SD card. Anyways, you're gonna have like little baby wheelies for the longest time, and it's gonna be really disappointing. But just kind of work with it and understand that it's not forever, because you're going to get better. So just keep putting the work in, and then after a while it'll get a lot better. You'll get them higher. But basically, that's the gist of it. You want to get first gear down where you can do a whole lot, and like a lot way bigger than this one. So once you can do first gear for like a quarter mile or so, I'd say, then you're kind of good to start getting into second gear. But you kind of got to work your way up to get to that point where you actually need the brake, and then past that's where you're going to start like slowing down and whatnot, which really comes in handy in second gear, because in second gear you're going to be going faster sometimes, you know. But basically you want to get to this point. I'll show you if I can. It's like right the brake comes in, like right here. Like right here I don't need it really, and then right there I do. Brake, 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 like that. And then everything else, like steering and stuff, kind of comes naturally. That's kind of a hard thing to explain. Basically, like, the way I always think about it is like your bike's gonna go in the direction that the rear wheel is going. So what you want to do is you want to try to like manipulate the bike and kind of like twist it to where you want to go. That's how I always see it. Anytime I like move the bars, it's basically just because it's like a comfort thing. Like it feels more comfortable when I twist the bike a certain way with the bars turned or whatever. At least in that time, so it's easier on like my position, I guess. Like a lot of times if I like lean to the right or something, I'll like twist my bars into my leg, kind of like you're turning normally. It's really kind of like how it is. It's just like it's like a delayed reaction when you steer in a wheelie, because it's like the front wheel is still kind of, the front of the bike still has to move first, which I guess is why it feels squirrely when you're like really far back, because it's like there's less front to the bike. So it's kind of like when it's like this, it's easier to steer because you have more front to the bike. And then when it's higher up like that, it's harder to steer because there's less front to the bike. It's like the slightest movement will make you turn type thing. So it's easier to turn the further back you are. And then also the further back you are, the more you slow down. So you can use both of that to your advantage to like get control of the bike basically. And then if you set the bike down crooked, like you can come down crooked still. You just have to kind of come down like with your tire turning into it. So like if you come down crooked, then your front tire hits the ground and you keep going this way for a second, but then you can kind of straighten out, you know what I mean? But you kind of have to come down a little crooked if you're already coming down crooked. You can't just like come down straight, because that'll probably like throw you off the bike or something, you know? But really it's that easy. But the main thing, like I said, is just putting in the time. So you got to put the seat time in, and then eventually you'll get to that point where you're just doing first gear. And those are a little sloppy actually, because I haven't been doing first gear as much. After a while it's just like, why would you do first gear almost? But first gear feels more like a bigger bike kind of. So sometimes I still like to do it because it actually feels like it has power and torque. Second gear, it feels like you're always fighting for the power, which makes it, I don't know which is harder. I'd say second gear is harder if you're not used to it, because it's like you're always giving it gas and trying to make it drop back basically. But if you don't give it enough gas, then the front end just comes down. So, and that's kind of how it is wheeling bigger bikes and like higher gears. So like doing a wheelie on like a MT-07 and like fifth gear or something is probably a lot like that, a lot like how a Grom is in second gear. Let's see, man, I got really deep into this. Is this recording? Okay, I was like, it better be after all that talking. Jeez. All right, so balance point is that point where it's like you don't need the brake yet, but you almost need it. And then dropping back is that point where you drop back past balance point and you need the brake and you're slowing down, and every movement is twitchier because you're further back, so you don't have that like front end of the bike to steer with really. I seen this house on Google Maps and it just looked like huge and sick and crazy. But yeah, anyways, I forgot to say, roll off the gas when you get past balance point, or maybe right at balance point, somewhere in there, but definitely past, because you don't want to use the gas and the brake at the same time, because then your brake fluid will heat up and then your brakes won't work as good, and you don't want that because then you can loop. And then I guess it's time for a second gear. Or if you got an OG Grom with stock clutch springs and it's really hard to wheelie, then you might want to use these next few tips at least, just to try to get it up in second gear. so I'll go over that. I kind of went a little backwards on this list, so it's not really going in order here. But yeah, I'll show you everything I do to get second gear up on this bike. And this bike has like 6 stunt cells, a really cool seat that has like a little lip on the back of it right here, like right here. It's not too far up, and it's not like all the way in the back or anything. It's just like perfect. So that seat always looked ideal to me, but I'm doing it here on the stock seat that has the strap, and it's all folded for me sliding back. But I don't know, a lot of people say it's like sketchy doing it like that, but I mean, like, that's how dirt bikes are, right? Like, they just are flat on the back and stuff. So I don't know, I don't think it's too bad. You just got to get used to it like anything. So I'm just kind of showing you, but I suck on other people's Groms usually, so I'm just so used to this Grom. But yeah, anyway, so for second gear, it's like the same deal pretty much. Like, you pull the clutch in, rev it, but before you dump the clutch, literally all you do is pull. That's the only difference. But for me personally, after I pull and I dump the clutch, I like to take these 2 fingers directly off of the clutch lever like that, and then that just makes me feel like more secure on the bike. And then also in second, when I rev it, I like to wrap my index finger around the throttle as well, and then I hover over the front brake a little. Sometimes I like gently use it like as I'm clutching up, but I try not to. And then I'm kind of weird because I always cover the front brake in a wheelie. So after I dump the clutch, like, I'll show you, like, I'll rev it, dump the clutch, well, I'll rev it, cool, dump the clutch, and then after I do that, I'll switch these 2 fingers onto here, right? But then I'll move this finger up onto my front brake. And for me, that just, I don't know, feels better. But I also modulate this with my rear brake, which is super weird. No one I know really does that, but I kind of use them in conjunction, and to me it just, I don't know, it feels better. Just doing them both at the same time like that feels better. But the only thing is, when you come down, you don't want your finger over the front brake necessarily. Well, you don't want it on it, you don't want to pull the front brake, so you gotta be careful of that. And it's totally normal to not use the front brake when you do wheelies, but I actually kind of like to, because sometimes you come down and it's like you immediately got to brake, you know what I mean? So you come down, then you hit the rear hard, and then ease into the front, you know, and it's just like way easier to stop if you have to coming out of a wheelie, which honestly is rare once you know how to drop back. But that's pretty much how I do second. So I'm gonna keep doing some second for you guys, and I hope you like my wheelie tutorial video. And just, if you're really trying to learn second, just watch me do second and keep in mind what I just told you. So rev it here, rev it, clutch, and then I usually do this where I move my index fingers down onto the grip, and then I move this one up onto the brake after, at like the same time. So it's like this. Really, but you don't got to do that. That's just how I do it. And I hope you guys like my how-to wheelie video. So let's go do some more wheelies. She was like, so the lady at the pizza place was like, go get some cool stuff at the garage sales today. I'm like, oh, it's the garage sale day? Because like usually once a year they got like a day or a weekend where everyone does garage sales. But I'm not seeing absolutely nothing. I'm like, lady, are you crazy? I don't think it's that big. But whatever.